Hello and welcome to another episode of the Plus 63 HP podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Jong Clemente. Alongside with me are two of my bestest best friend. I'm gonna start with a guy with a pink headset, Chubax. How are you doing?
Running out of energy, but happy to be here. Can't wait to discuss this lovely, lovely show.
All right. Another one of our bestest best friends, waking up at an ungodly hour in the West Coast. Arnie, how are you doing?
Hello there.
Mm. And again, if this is your first time viewing, welcome. The Plus 63 HP Nexus of Podcast discusses shows that we deep dive into, provide a reviews to show whether you should watch it as well. So we've discussed the Midnight Club's parts 1 and part 2. We've also discussed Andor, the first 4 episodes. And this week, we are very, very excited to jump into the next few episodes of Andor before the last 2 episodes that are coming out in a couple of weeks. So if you have not yet, please follow us. We are on YouTube. Just type in youtube.com/plus63hp. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you can know or be informed when any of our shows drop. You can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Follow all of our socials. Our handle is at plus63HP. If you don't want to watch us, if you don't want to see our faces and you just want to listen to us, feel free to do so. Open up your podcasting app of choice, right? And then search plus63HP. We shall be there, whatever podcasting app that is. But our favorites are Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Amazon. Housekeeping is done. Without further ado, we are very excited to discuss episodes 5 to 10 of Andor. But before we go to our spoiler-filled review, we're just going to go quickly around the room and give our current initial reaction about the series without spoiling the series for now. So for those people who haven't seen it yet, what are they going to be in for? So let's start with the Chubax. Non-spoiler review of Andor to date. 10 episodes in.
I love it. I love it. I wasn't excited for it after episode 4. Just as I was talking to you before the show, like, just got this too tired, got distracted with like the game I'm playing and Modern Warfare also and Midnight Club. But soon I got back into like, why didn't I just watch this every day? Like, fuck, so good.
Arnie, non-spoilery instant reaction of Andor to date.
Well, this is the type of show that it is a slow burn. That starts slow. That's what Chubax was implying. But it pays off as soon as you keep watching and it ramps up. It just builds up on every episode, every story arc. So for me, and from even from the podcasts and YouTubers that I've been watching reacting to Andor, they just keep saying this like the adult or like high level Star Wars writing. Like basically it could be a different franchise and still hold on its own. So yeah, it's really good. Just, if you haven't seen Andor, catch up. There you go.
Yeah, again, piggybacking on that, even like Shabak and I spoke, I think, yesterday about it, but exactly that. It is just amazing writing about a rebellion. It just so happens that the IP or like
Yeah.
the franchise that they chose were Star Wars,
Mm-hmm.
but like what you mentioned, make it World War I, World War II, make
Hmm.
it Philippine Revolution, doesn't matter. It'll still work because it's just really good writing, really good acting, really well paced, perfectly casted. Every single person that they plopped in there, I was like, I didn't know that Andy Serkis was gonna be there. He fucking
Oh,
crushed it. That
Mm,
fucking senator was dope. The senator's best friend was amazing. Like everybody here was just perfectly cast. The IBS person. I mean, I just
I didn't
wish
think
it's a different.
I'd have a crush
Um,
on Mothma.
yeah,
oh yeah, Mama
Mon
Moth.
Mothma, yes, but like I have a crush on the IBS person. Like,
Oh,
Mm,
hmm.
but the thing is, I wish they changed a different acronym because whenever they say I am an IBS supervisor, you have
ISB,
immutable.
ISB.
ISB. I'm sorry. I
IBS.
Irritable
always
bowel
think like
syndrome.
irritable bowel syndrome. So ISB. So I was like, that was super great. But yeah, I mean, and exactly how we mentioned it, Arnie. This is what a Star Wars franchise could be. It's like
Mhm,
the Star Wars IP just elevates something that could be already good, right? And perfect use of it. And we have not seen a single lightsaber. One of my favorite episodes, episode 9, not a single blaster,
mhm.
right? Just
Nobody's
people,
listening.
Yep.
just what they're again, it's like the words that they're saying. Well, in its own context is already powerful, but again, if you put it in the context of Star Wars, it's even more powerful. It layers
Mhm,
on. So that's the reason why I now that my bar for Star Wars RP is a lot higher. Like,
mm.
I'm looking back, Andor and then Mandalorian, it's like, it's now mid compared to this because this is such great writing, great show. And without further ado, I'm gonna turn it over to Arnie to give us a quick rundown of episodes 5 to 10, and
Mhm.
then we'll discuss our favorite bits, things that we and provide our opinions about this particular show. So take it away, Arnie.
All right, this is just gonna be really quick because if you've seen Andor, you probably rewatch it so many times. So I'm just gonna hit the beats on it. So episode 5 is more about the planning of the heist. We got introduced to some more of the characters like Skeen, Taramin,
Sintra.
more
Sinta.
Senta, and then the manifest guy. I keep forgetting his name. Namek. So Andor or Clem is just trying to integrate himself in the team. Skeen was particularly suspicious of him, basically either trying to see if he's a spy or maybe trying to see if he's going to be something else. And meanwhile, um, and we also find out that one of the team members is or actually is an Imperial officer. So there's a lot of trend right now. Like if you remember from Kenobi, Tala was an Imperial officer as well. So a lot of them turned turned coat because of how the Empire's been treating people. Um, and then meanwhile, in the ISB, not IBS, they're trying to see like because of the stolen component that they found on Ferrex. So Miro or Deidre is investigating that, and of course she
Very
encounters a lot of
competently.
very competently,
Very
but she
competently.
encounters a lot of bureaucracy and backbiting.
Yep.
If you've ever worked in an office environment, you could relate to that. Right, Jong, right, Chubax? So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, any office worker worth their salt who is competent, and you've seen this scene, like, yep, yeah, you have your, uh, I would say Dwight Schrute type characters, like, oh, you're blocking you on every way because they just got there first or they have more favor. But anyways, that's basically how episode 5 was. It's more of a setup on episode 6, which is the actual heist. Um, so basically, it's called the Eye because that's where the cosmic event that happens that the rebels want to use as their cover. So it also builds up really slow. Like you can't even think of how is this going to work? It's so slow. They're just too small of a team to do this, but they took advantage of the Eye and the pilgrimage people. And then it happens to be that because of Gorn, the Imperial officer, that's how high he was. Uh, and you could see him act like as an officer. So he was able
Oh no.
to, yeah, he was able to access, because of his position. Andor and the team were able to become the security detail for the lieutenant's family or something like that. So they had high access basically. And then once they started, oh man, it was very, very stressful.
But let's
Basically,
stop there first. First, I want
yeah.
to love how it's a little on the nose, but just how expertly crafted that group was. You have
Mhm.
one that's the idealist, the philosopher,
Mhm.
the
Namek.
fighting for the world, the righteous human rights, the how
Mhm.
justice, how the world should be. You have the um like the quiet fury of a woman burn like Sintas, just like
Mhm.
she's
Family was
really
killed.
she has rage, but it's very controlled, very
Mhm.
solid. The other one is like, I think, the more outward hostile, and then you got Skeen,
Mhm.
who's the mercenary. Like it turns out to be
A
uh
liar.
the liar, the one out for the money,
Mhm.
and fuck everybody else. And then we get Kashan, who's like in the middle, where
Of everything.
he's there for the money, but he's not a fucking asshole like Skeen.
Skiing.
Like I'm not gonna uh bloody my hands just because of money, but I still want my
Yeah.
money. Like,
Mhm.
I was
And he's
surprised.
also an idealist. Yeah.
Kind of, no,
In a way. In a way.
not yet. Yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
Also, like, even so, there's philosophy level, but there's also technical skills.
Mhm.
That was that's like, I love how, I don't know how Stellan Skarsgård, Luthen
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
saw what how he saw Cashin, right?
Mhm.
How he saw his expertise, but he's always this person that's like, you don't have to plan. You don't know how to do this. He was like,
Yeah.
I love it. Like during those first episodes, shit, I totally forgot now. Like I'm so hung up on the last two episodes. I forgot how
How good?
amazing the
Yeah,
heist
yeah, yeah.
episodes was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
That's
even
what
just
it
like
builds
the
off.
right, even just like
Yeah.
the planning of it, it's very
Yeah.
clear. Like they were
Yeah.
training. There was like even, and they were mentioning it's like, oh, like the models were
Yeah.
exactly how they
And
need to be.
And there was some hesitation from Val because it is a basically it is a suicide mission. If
Mhm.
they could have failed miserably, but
no,
yeah, I
and
mean,
the reveal too, like, caught me off by surprise. Like, where Cash is like, I'm being paid to be here. Like, I don't want to be
yeah,
looking over my shoulder. Like, oh, fuck, I'm just gonna be
yeah,
honest, like.
yeah.
So, and Diego
But
Luna,
anyways,
oh my god.
yeah, oh yeah. I mean, the heist happens. Of course, not everything happens according to plan. So we lost Tyramin, we lost Gorn. Gorn gave out his best line out of this, at least for his character, that when his officer said, "Oh, you're part of this, you're gonna hang for this," and then he said, "6 years or 7 years working for you, I deserve more." Like, dude. But yeah, and then of course Nemec got killed,
Oh, what a way to
and then
die.
of course
That sucked.
the reveal of Skeen, just let's just betray them, let's just take the money
Dude,
and go.
that scene, like,
Yeah, I thought it
fucking
would because
Diego Luna, fucking,
yeah,
when he just
it's
pulled that
basically
fucking gun, like, oh, wow.
it's basically Cantina Greedo versus Han Solo, but because the thing is you don't
But
know
this
if
was
he's actually
more, like, oh, powerful. Just like Diego Luna's face
yeah
there, like, he was,
yeah
I
because
don't
he
know,
was
like,
calculating, is he bullshitting me or is he
yeah,
really betraying?
like,
So
and then
he
when
just took a gamble that yeah
no, when he was like thinking, like, you're right, he was calculating, is he bullshitting me? But then again, if he's not, like, I may
it's
be a scumbag,
dangerous.
but this is a fucking
Mhm.
this one is a fucking
Yeah,
scumbag. Like, bang,
yeah.
like, fucking the
And
cold in
then
his eye.
yeah, and then when he told Val, like he's like, okay, I'm just gonna take my share. Here's the kyber crystal that Luthen gave me. I'm out. That's all
It
they get.
that's for me. That scene was so powerful.
Yeah,
Like it was just like, everything was so quick. Everything was so straight. There was no fluff. There was no dramatic
yeah,
monologuing. Like he was
yeah,
not like he was trying to kill you. Here's I'm getting my share. I'm leaving. It's like
yeah,
oh, they know what they were doing in this particular show. I really
yeah,
love this fucking
yeah.
show.
All right, and then episode 7. So obviously the repercussions of the theft. So basically, Luthen doesn't find out until like a customer of his is like, "Hey, do you have anything from Aldani? Because there was like this thing on the news," and he's like, "Oh, okay, so it worked." Um, and then of course, Miro was, I mean, Deidre was like, "Oh, I think." So they for some for I'm not on the details right now, but they were able to tie in the stolen technology to Andor, and then maybe Aldani as well, or just basically just. I mean, we've seen this in real life, or even in other movies that the government entity is more like, well, let's just all tie in together so that we could justify our reaction. So the Empire basically uh overreacts, which is what Luthen wants. But dude, like they doubled prison sentences of current prisoners uh,
So
uh
fucking
Random
randomly,
fucking shit.
they
Like
arrest people, and then in Ferrex it was cracked down. Uh basically, and this is what Luthen said. And he also, one of the amazing lines too is like, oppression breeds rebellion. So that's what actually he wants. So aside from getting the money, he got what he wants. So he got the Empire to overreact. And then meanwhile, Cassian went home to Ferrex, tried to take his mom, or Marva away, but she's like, you know what? When I heard about that Aldani thing, of course he didn't tell her that he was
he was part
involved.
of it. Yeah.
Like, I felt proud because it's kind of like my revenge against, because so we also find out that Clem, her husband, was hanged by the Empire, and which it was just he was just trying to de-escalate
yeah,
something,
that's
but
fucked
he
up of
got
them.
hanged as well. But she became proud, and she's starting to rebel as well. Um, so he couldn't take her, and then he visits Bix, and
Thankfully,
she
All
wouldn't go with
random.
him, and of course she blames
What's her
him
name
for
again?
everything.
Aljona?
I'll,
Adriana
Adriana Aljona?
Arjona,
Arjona?
Dr. Morbius's
Oh,
wife.
she's
wife.
crushing it. Well, we're not at that
She,
episode yet, but oh my god, she can act.
oh yeah,
She can
she could
act.
act. I mean, she's just not a decoration, because
Yeah.
especially like 20, 30 years ago, when you hire an actress who's just pretty, you could tell they're just like decorations, but she is killing it too as well. Um, but basically, so nobody wants to go with him, so he leaves Ferrex. He goes to this, a lot of the YouTubers say, well, it's kind of like Miami, Florida type planet, and he got racially profiled. He got arrested, and he's like,
but
I'm a
dude, that
tourist.
that fucking tease of K2SO coming out
Oh
with a
man,
different voice, I was like, oh, no,
different
shit,
voice,
you
different
got me.
movement, and he's like, oh,
That's why he
hang,
gets
hang. Okay, let's hang this
I
for a
was
guy.
so
Like, no, no, no.
I
He
was
said,
so
let me go.
pissed. Pissed in a good
But
way. Pissed in a good way.
yeah,
Like
and
fuck.
the whole, I'm just a tourist. But basically, and again, it's an overreaction, right? So, if you've been in a country where the government is a little bit autocratic or dictatorial stuff, you would hear stories or even know someone who was this. So it's a commentary. So when people say Star Wars is never political, they've always been political. But yeah, so that's episode 7. Episode 8, we found out his sentence was 6 years, and he goes to this
it used to
basically,
be 6 months.
it used to be 6 months, became 6 years. So
Fucking
can you
shit.
just imagine the exponential
Naraki?
growth of that?
Naraki, I think, right?
Narkina 5,
Narkina,
Narkina 5.
Narkina
Narkina.
5.
Yeah. So they send him to this planet where he is forced to do some labor, which we still don't know what they're building, but a lot of people are guessing it's parts of the Death Star. Meanwhile, Cinta, I think this is from the previous episode too. She was given the mission to, or no, Val was given the mission to kill a Cassian because he's a loose end. But because he got arrested, they couldn't find him, which is also good for him.
So that's something. So well, I want to pause there because like that is so fucking weird.
Yeah,
That you just escaped and then you got caught for something so random.
yeah,
But I was looking at it, it's like what's the storyline reason for this? It's like it's just happenstance that this is what happens when there's like
No, it's I think it's
chaos in
also
the
they wanted to they were not recruiting. They were filling up the prison. They
yeah.
were doing
exactly, and that's
random
the thing too.
butts.
It's just like I just couldn't figure out how those things kind of work its way together.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh shit,
I mean,
it's so
it's part of a oppressive government, right? That's why
Yeah.
it's
I
like
mean,
it's so good.
uh, I think from what Jong is implying, it could have been a cinema sin, like, oh, it's too convenient, but
no,
actually no.
no. It's just like
It actually falls together. Like, yeah, he got arrested for bullshit charges, and then the sentence was bullshit.
so. I was looking at it like you pulled off an impossible heist.
Yeah,
You did not do anything wrong. You
That's
were literally just like this. You got
you're just
caught because of the
loitering.
stupidest thing, right? So that's,
Yeah,
I mean, that's again, I know it's gonna come back in the future and why he
yeah,
has a burning hate for the empire because
yeah,
look, like bro, like it's just insane. I'm just like walking and then I got 6 years.
yeah.
Amazing,
And the thing too is like
amazing
he wasn't
writing.
even supposed to be out walking. He was just like the girl, like, oh, can you buy me some Cheetos or something? Like, oh, okay, I'll get some Cheetos. And then he gets arrested. I was like, bitch.
So good,
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah, right. So it was good. And then again in episode 5, so yeah, so Cassian, we see he was from the get-go, he was already planning his escape. He was like watching, oh, they're not efficient. Oh,
Oh, and
the
I
guards are
do
like,
we skipped that scene, but like we see in how good he is at observation. You know, when the
yeah,
Yep.
left-handed, right-handed.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Which also plays into like, oh, it takes them this many minutes to process me into the thing. And it looks like they're not really trained guards or something. So basically, he's watching and trying to think of his escape already. And then meanwhile, off planet, we see Luthen meeting up with Saw Gerrera, which is another amazing scene. This is before Saw Gerrera's asthma or whatever he was on in Rogue One.
That's true.
And both of them were like, "Oh, so did you do the Aldani thing?" And Luthen like, "No, I thought it was you." And they're like, "Well, let's just agree it was a masterpiece, okay?" So that was amazing scene. Like you could
Yeah,
tell though
I
these
agree.
two actors are like, "Yep, they deserve Oscars." These two actors. And then of course, there's also a scene with uh Vel and Cinta. Like, because it was already established that they were there together, and Vel was just trying to, hey, let's celebrate a little bit. And Cinta's like, no,
No,
the
and
cost.
a great reveal of Val being a rich girl running away,
Yep,
and I
yep,
didn't
yep,
connect
and
that
that too.
immediately to.
Because we thought she was probably related to Luthen, but I thought she was
Oh, I
actually
didn't
Mon
even think
Mothma's
like.
cousin.
I just thought she was just a random girl, a random rich girl who ran away.
Yeah, exactly. And but the thing is, like, and Vel also does this too. The cause is priority. We take what's left. Like, ooh, that's very heartbreaking, right? For her and Cinta, and for even for Mon Mothma as well. Like, okay, that's the cause, and then of course, going to the ISB, Deidre, because of all her tying it to Aldani, and because she also talked with Karn about what happened in Ferrex, and because of how lax the Empire was about security and all this bureaucracy, so she was able to convince her boss that, hey, I'm onto something. So she becomes basically the supervisor of Ferrex. So she captures Bix, and yeah, I mean, unfortunately for Vix, she in the next episode, if man, that's gonna be
She's still
rough.
alive, right? She's still alive.
Yeah.
She's still alive because
Yeah.
she's basically a hostage now. So let's jump into episode 9,
Oh,
where Deidre and Dr. Gorst shows Bix how
nobody's
they could break
listening.
people.
Oh my god.
Nobody's listening because you don't want to listen to what she was listening to. Basically, the like that scene, like they just cut off all the sound, noise canceling headphones. They didn't even let us hear it. We just
Yeah.
heard her
So I mean that's
scream.
perfect. It's
Yeah.
if you really look at it, I saw episode 9 and episode 10
Hmm.
like 2.5 times each because I just
Yeah.
love those two episodes. And then if you really look at it, I think because they spent all of their budget in the heist and in
Mhm.
the fight scenes, and
And then Prison Breakout.
yeah, the prison is very contained, like
Yeah,
it's
it's
just
Yeah.
one
just like
room.
it's just 2 to 3 sets and
So
all, repeated.
Yeah.
yeah, right. A lot of the things that they're trying to do, they're trying to not make effects, but
Yeah.
in what happens is it's a lot more ominous.
Yeah.
Like no flashy lights, no weird sounds,
Yeah.
no hologram, no whatever. It was just Dr. Gorsh telling what had happened, right?
Yeah.
You know how they got that sound of
Yeah.
the kids that they
Yeah.
like one delivering that line so clear. It's like, oh, there was this thing that we eradicated this kind of people, but in this kind of people there was a place where they found some stowaways, and then they
Mhm.
eradicated those, but people forgot that there was kids in them. So what we did was isolated that sound, and you wouldn't
Yeah.
want to hear this sound. It was like,
And the thing
what?
is, even in the real
Yeah,
world, because we know how to do that. We have the technology to do that. Oh, there's a crowd sound, or we were able to isolate just the people clapping, or we have that technology, so we know we could technically, in theory, do something like that as a torture device, technically.
it, it's so great. But even
And
before that, before we go to the actual torture scene, the way that what was the ISB person's name again?
Deidre.
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 Yeah, the way that she explained how she caught
Mm-hmm.
Bix,
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
right, was so, for me, it's like, I didn't even know that that could happen. So that's
Yeah.
an actual cool way. Like, all right, you're not
Yeah.
a dum dum, right? Like
Yeah.
this is like, the way that I know there's in episode 9 and episode 10, there's a lot of back and forth
Mm-hmm.
between the ISB and how are they going to catch these people. So there are strategies. Like, oh, they're
Yeah.
very smart.
Yeah.
Because we've
And then
always
her
forgotten.
best line too is like, the worst thing you could do is bore me. And then Bix is like, well, you're not gonna believe me anyway. Like, yeah, you're right. Let's just start with the torture. Like, yep.
No, it's
And of
great.
course, with Bix, I mean, the acting, she didn't even have to overreact. She's just like very tight shot on her face. My face went away, but basically like that. And then we could, like, the hesitation. She is anticipating the sound, and when she finally hears it, and then, like, you know, it's just like, I
And
mean,
and I
director
love
is
that
really good.
these people are just people. They're not trained in
Yeah,
to resist interrogation. They're fucking crack.
exactly. Exactly. And she gave up
Yeah,
Cassian as
and we don't
expected.
blame her. It's just
Yeah, I mean, because she did warn her. It's the repeat listening that does the
that
real
damage.
damage. So yeah, so that's why there's also a meme now coming out, because it's Christmas season now, right? So if you work retail, you'll hear all the Mariah Carey "All I Want for Christmas" for every day. And so it's basically the meme of Bix being tortured, but the headset is just Mariah Carey. So it's funny. Anyways, of course, when Andor was being processed, we found out that Andy Serkis, as John mentioned earlier,
Oh,
is the supervisor Kino Loy,
5D, 52D.
52D. D means day shift, and just the gravitas of Andy Serkis. I mean, I already loved him as Smeagol, Gollum, and then Caesar, and then King Kong. But this dude, man, he could really act, and I'm
you know.
so glad that he's in the live action and it's actually him, not CGI. But anyways, of course, he was the shift supervisor who was telling how you need to be very productive. I mean, it's reminiscent of rank it is a management philosophy Microsoft had a long time ago, like stack ranking. So people who are overperforming are rewarded, and then the ones low below either got laid off or fired or whatever. So yeah, I mean, it's basically slave labor what they're doing right now over there.
Mhm.
So that's why when we go to episode 9, when Olaf, one of the older prisoners, ended up dying, they found out that there was something wrong happening in level 2. Uh, the, they made a mistake. To somebody who was supposed to be released got sent there, and then of course it caused a riot. They killed 2 shifts to make that
And
go away.
dude, the change in Kino Loy from
Oh
being
my
that
god.
Yeah,
The night before.
corporate
Tell me
corporate
before you
stooge,
leave. Tell me everything that you know. And
how
it's
like,
many
like,
guards in each floor?
like,
oh my
never
god,
more
that
than
best
12.
Sleep. Everybody
Yeah.
sleep. Ah, and then the
that
last
last
scene.
scene, no more than 12 each shift. Like,
No more than 12. And
oh
then even when
yes.
episode 10 started, they're still arguing. Yeah, it's power. They killed two ships because that's power. And like, no, power never panics. And I agree. So some things it just shows you that at least in this pocket of the universe or galaxy, that this part of the empire is not that thought out yet. They're not that powerful yet. They still panic. Yeah, so he was able to convince Kino to, hey, they're going to replace Olaf tomorrow.
It's
We
the
need
best
to
time.
we need to take advantage. And that prison break, oh my goodness. It just reminded me of Planet of the Apes when Kino was like, attack!
No, I
And
love
then
that night about, when they were coming back to their
yeah,
cell. And I was like, tell him. And so here's the thing, the subtle thing where I think Andor shines, particularly Cassian's shines.
hmm,
It's not gonna work if it came from him.
yeah,
He knew it has to be Kino.
yeah.
Okay?
Nobody's leaving.
Nobody's leaving.
And then his monologue, like, wow. I mean, again, that's just prime acting there. Like,
That was
I mean, he gave me Planet of the Apes vibes, and then his sudden change from uh corporate guy to rebel, like it's basically Smeagol Gollum changing. Like, okay, I don't care anymore. I'm dead. Let's do this.
I mean, that's the thing that I like. It's not something, it's not a big leap.
It's not, yeah,
It's very justified where he has 200 and some odd days left. And then
yeah,
he's like, nobody's going to last 2 more weeks.
yeah,
So he knew
exactly.
it's
oh, and
desperation.
we
It's like,
also
He
get
knew.
that descent. It might be a little fast, but we still got him like corporate man. And then
Yeah,
when they first heard about the rumors, he was already
yeah,
hesitating, and Kasha was trying to get into him, but he was
yeah.
like, no, but he was already angry. It's like starting
Yeah,
to
let's
crack,
keep our
and then
head down until we know what's going on. Yeah. But basically, I mean, and yeah, and then of course the heartbreaking part is he can't swim.
that's,
Uh,
dude,
oh my,
that scene.
can't
Oh,
swim.
oh my, that I was, when that was happening, I thought it was done. That's the masterful piece about the show.
Yeah.
Every portion, like we even wait, when was the Luthen monologue? That was before, right?
same
No, that
Right
episode,
was
but
before.
after,
yeah,
because but it's the last, this the last part of the episode practically. Yeah, yeah.
Wait, isn't the I thought the last part was the swimming part.
no,
The last part was Cassian and Melch running, but the
Oh,
swimming
okay, okay,
part,
okay.
they cut
oh,
away for
okay,
the
okay.
swimming part, then the Luthen part happened. Yeah.
Yeah. But I was like looking at, like, you get haymaker by haymaker. Like,
Yeah.
one, the no, one
No
way
way
out
out or
speech,
one way
right?
out. Yeah.
Right. And then, well, first it was like the uh the doctor, and then the one way out speech, and then the actual
Yeah.
the breakout, and then
Yep.
the I can't swim part. Oh,
Mm.
But it's not. We
oh,
didn't see him die, so
We didn't see him die. Because the thing is, yeah, he might not be able to swim, but he could still jump, and maybe because he did
people
tell the,
will pull them out.
yeah, because the people, he did tell, like, if you somebody's confused, needing help, help them.
Mhm.
So maybe he'll do it. And I just made a joke in one of the comment sections, like, oh, once again, Andy Serkis needs a ring, which is like a life preserver. But basically, yeah. But and then of course we going back to Mon Mothma, which, like, talking to the gangster, Davos Colden. That scene too, like, oh yeah, I mean, he believed her, like, yeah, I just want
arranged with.
charity, whatever. But when she said, "Oh, I'm not thinking about giving my daughter away," she's like, "Oh, that's the first untrue thing you've mentioned today." It's like, okay, I'll see you soon. Like, oh wow. And then a little ISB action there, like, they caught a pilot, they killed him, of course, after interrogating him. they faked the accident, and then of course they had to look like, oh, it was an accident. Let's take an interest, but it's basically a trap for one of the rebels, and which led us to Lonnie, who we found out that there's an ISP mole
I didn't
hired by
expect that too.
Luthen. I did not expect that
And
too.
then we
I
get
thought
the
the
monologue.
monologue,
The
like,
other monologue. Yeah,
ooh,
how many awesome monologues can you have in
Oh,
one
Skarsgård
episode?
is killing it. Like, so I guess he is the father of the rebellion, right? If Mon Mothma's like the
pretty
mom,
much, pretty
he's
much.
like he's the father. Like,
Like,
and like
I sacrificed to give a sunrise that I know I will never see. Like,
it's so
wow.
good because at the start of that scene when Lonnie was giving his side, it's like you feel his side. Like, fuck, like being
Yeah,
trapped
you
between
Yeah,
have
two
a kid
worlds,
now.
have a
yeah.
kid. That's fucking hard. But then this other guy is giving everything. Like,
Yeah,
his not just his life, his friends, his money, his
I share my
future. Like,
dreams with ghosts.
fuck
Oh my
off.
I think about you all the time.
And
God.
he wasn't
Like
lying.
you,
Like,
and then you are worth 50 men. I
Yeah,
cannot
that is
lose you.
oh is oh
Oh my! I mean,
oh.
imagine like, if imagine you're trying to quit your job. Like, hey boss, here's my 2 weeks in. Like, dude, no,
I'm
you're
gonna fire 50
you're
people
very
in 2 weeks.
valuable.
I
We'll,
need
we'll lay off an we'll lay off an entire department just to keep you. Don't go.
I need all the heroes I can get.
I need all the heroes I could get.
Fuck.
Oh my god. So that's basically it. I mean, six. I mean, of course, it's not
Everything.
the entire 6 episode. It's just watch it. I'm not doing it any justice. We're just here for the discussion, and we're already in the
And
middle of
a
it. I
funny
mean,
thing, Arnie Jong thought it was the season finale.
I thought it was a season finale.
it is season finale worth. I mean, if Rogue One didn't exist, let's take away Rogue One first. That we know everybody dies. Let's just say they made this show, and it's leading up to New Hope, or even Rebels. Yeah, this episode 10 could be a season finale, and season 2 could be more time on Cassian and see finding K2SO, hooking up with the rebellion, Saw Gerrera. We could also see more Saw Gerrera scenes and all that stuff. But because we know about Rogue One, and I think season 2 might be the last season. I'm not sure because I think originally when it was greenlit, it was only for one season because we know the character dies, right? But I
They wanted to
guess
really flesh out the
they want
rebellion.
to flesh out. Maybe Tony Gilroy really advocated like, no, it's not. It can't be just one season. It has to be 2 seasons. And and they don't want to make 24 episodes in one season. That's not being done anymore. You don't want too many filler episodes. So yeah, I mean, this show. I mean, yeah, I mean, Mando. It's still, it just it's basically fan service, but it's really, really good because it's a Filoni Favreau joint. Kenobi is basically because Kenobi's my favorite Jedi, but this show, man, is mm, mm.
It's one of again. You're right. It's like we're not gonna do this show justice, but to wrap up this particular episode of reviews, just final thoughts and ratings of Andor and what you'd like to see in the last couple of episodes. Let's start with you, Chubax.
Final rating?
Yeah, or this chunk episodes 5 to 10.
I don't know. I gotta go with the 10. I mean,
Mhm.
it's not much I can ask for, and it makes me want to rewatch it, and it makes me want to watch Rogue One. So I don't know if
Mhm.
I'm gonna wait. Am I gonna wait till the season finale before I rewatch Rogue One, or pop it on now? Best thing I can say. And I hate
Um,
prequels to boot. Huh? I hate prequels, and this one,
Exactly. That's what I
this
went. I was, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
yeah, I'll go before Arnie, but yeah, that's the same thing. I'm a solid the highest 9 that I could give. It's again the only nit. It's a little slow, but that's the purpose of it. It's like
Yeah.
you really want to understand the message. You really want to understand every single motivation of every single character, and the way that they've done it from episodes 1 till 10 is the slow layering on and piling on of reasons why Cassian
Mhm.
is who Cassian is. the slow unraveling of who Luthen is, the
Mhm.
slow messiness of how a rebellion happens, where, at the end of episode 10, Mon Mothma is having to deal with a thug that is trying to marry his son to her daughter, and he
Mhm.
might have to, right?
She
I don't
might
know what's
have
going to
to.
happen. It's like all of these, how complicated it is to do something good. Like
Mhm.
I love this tang. This is, I think, it's what Game of Thrones would wanna be, right? The
Mhm.
what House of the Dragons would, they want this complication, but they've never really done that particular just. This one, I think, perfect through and through, and I cannot wait to like watch. And I love that we have 2 seasons.
Mhm.
I love that that's it. That's, we know that this is like a contained stuff. So I think
Yeah.
this is Rogue One. I've already told you, Rogue One has always been my favorite Star Wars
Mhm.
movie. I know it's divisive with people. I love it because like this is how we figure out why we're doing certain things. Like
Yeah.
it's not a lot of lightsabers, but yeah, this one perfect. Arnie, what
Mhm.
is your rating and
Okay.
final thoughts?
Let's start with rating. It's a 10 out of 10. There's still some people like, well, we could have skipped this part. Like, no, 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 no. Each part is necessary. 10 out of 10. Okay, I'll stop. And then considering what Andor has to compete with, it came out when Rings of Power was out, House of the Dragon was out. They even brought out Tales of the Jedi in the middle of it as well. For it to be like still be compelling and be able to tell its story on its own uh on its own basically free will, basically that's the best part of being Disney Plus. You don't have to worry about weekly audience reviews, audience views. You make the first season, you finish it, it doesn't get canceled mid-season, right? Because in the old tradition way, if this was a broadcast TV and after 2 episodes, if the fans like, oh, it's too slow, boring, it gets canceled, right? This is what Disney Plus is all about. Like we just been given a full 12 episodes arc to tell a story, and they didn't rush it, which is good. I mean, now it's getting its props because now we don't have House of the Dragon, we don't have Rings of Power, uh, nothing Star Wars coming up. We just have Wakanda Forever. I'm trying to get to watch it this weekend. I'm still hoping I could do it. But basically, no other show is competing with its attention right now. So next 2 episodes next week is, I gotta like, yeah, it's not even Thanksgiving yet. So finale will be during Thanksgiving week. Oh man, I think I'm gonna rewatch this during Thanksgiving.
Mhm.
Let's put it that way. So this is just that's how good it is. So yeah, this show. Mm, mm-mm.
All right. Well, with that, I think I speak in behalf of the rest of the boys that we are eagerly awaiting the next episode, and the episode after that. We're gonna do a last 2 episode and full season recap once that is over. You bet your bottom dollar we're gonna do that.
Mm.
But that is it for now for this particular episode. Again, if you haven't seen Andor yet, hop on, right? Get Disney
Rip it
Plus,
and rip it and watch it.
watch it. It's extremely worth it. And then once you've seen episode 4, go to our channel, youtube.com/plus63hp, discuss with us. And once
Mm.
you've seen episode 10, come back and rewatch this episode as well. See if
Yep.
your thoughts align with what the comments and compliments that we've given the show. But with that, we thank you very much. We will see you next week for another video. Bye, guys.
Lives.
Kino lives. He will.
Yeah, just like Ahsoka, we didn't know she was alive.